I suspect if you ask the average South Australian who earns more, the Premier, the Governor or a University Vice-Chancellor, most would hazard a guess to say the Premier, maybe the Governor. The cynics amongst us might guess that a Vice-Chancellor, of course, makes more. But in actuality, the pay of South Australia's Vice-Chancellors can be more than that of the Premier and the Governor combined, with room to spare. A report from The Advertiser revealed that the current co-vice-chancellors of the taxpayer-funded merged Adelaide University, Professor Peter Hoy and Professor David Lloyd, both made upwards of $1 million in 2023 and 2024. And I'm sure both must be green with envy when they look at their Flinders University counterpart, Professor Colin Stirling, who made an eye-watering $1.4 million in 2024. That's 3.5 times the salary of the Premier. To put those numbers into perspective, it would take someone working minimum wage over 56,000 hours to earn what these Vice-Chancellors make in a year. That's roughly 6.5 years of work, no breaks, no sleep, just work 24/7. Compared to their international counterparts in the UK, Vice-Chancellors average there roughly £413, which is around 843,000 Australian, while in the US, Vice-Chancellors average some $251,500 USD, or 375,866 Australian. The pay packets of these Australian university bosses are out of control, and they demonstrate the growing inequality and warped priorities of our Australian universities. Indeed, I would say that I am surprised that the Liberal Party says that it's not a surprise to anyone that their position is to oppose this bill. I would remind them that when Simon Birmingham was Education Minister, it was well chronicled back in 2017 that he was gearing up for a propaganda war against the universities and specifically targeting their healthy surpluses, lavish new buildings and university vice-chancellors' then million-dollar salaries. In fact, Mr Birmingham's talking points were described by the Australian Financial Review article to be that Vice-Chancellors earn more than the Prime Minister and most senior public servants. So how the Liberals have changed in just a short period of time, but how the Vice-Chancellors' salaries have ballooned. While Vice-Chancellors are making their millions year after year, most academics working under them are struggling to make ends meet. I've heard countless stories of university lecturers and tutors who aren't paid enough to even complete the marking that they're required to do for their students, forcing them to work unpaid hours of marking just to make sure that their students get timely and helpful feedback. Back in 2023, a report from the NTU found that more than 97,000 employees across our Australian university system were victims of wage theft to the tune of some $158.7 million. Among South Australian universities, UniSA was said to have 16 employees owed a total of $182,709. Flinders University was found to have 2 staff owed some $67,578, and the University of Adelaide was found to have 2 staff owed $52,000. So while these Vice-Chancellors are bringing home $1 million plus pay packets, university staff are actually having their wages stolen. What's worse is the newly merged Adelaide University, which the Malinowskis government has been proud to champion, plans to completely scrap in-person lectures, opting for a, quote, rich digital learning activities. I'm sorry, but I fail to see how sitting at a computer and watching a slideshow presentation with a voiceover can be seen as rich digital learning. Something's rich, but it's not the learning. So apparently universities don't have the money to pay their staff. They don't have the money to run in-person lectures, but when it comes to time to hand over massive salaries and bonuses to Vice-Chancellors, the bank appears to be open. Those salaries demonstrate a sad reality, that our universities have become more about turning a profit and making money than educating people and providing us with the skills that benefit our society. These salaries treat Vice-Chancellors more like CEOs than educators, rewarding them not for their ability to have a great institution with a high quality of education, but for their ability to make money for that university. Students deserve better, South Australians deserve better, Academics deserve better. Clearly, universities aren't going to willingly drop their salaries of their Vice-Chancellors and redirect those funds to better quality of education for their students, so this Parliament should give them a push. This bill would, of course, cap the salary of South Australian Vice-Chancellors at that of the salary of the Premier. Now, that's a pretty reasonable salary, Mr President. I don't think the Premier is complaining that he doesn't make enough. Mr President, I look forward to the vote on this bill, and I do remind the Liberal Party of their former Education Minister's words and ask them to reflect on whether or not they have, in this case, judged too hastily what the outcome should be.